Praise the Lord. I want to thank the leadership of Southwest District 3 for this privilege. This is ministry for me. So every time I have the privilege to share my experience, I take it with all of my heart. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I'm going to do my best within the time I have to deliver all that is possible for me to deliver. 1 hour, okay. Because I'm very passionate about this, okay? So I tweaked the topic a bit, okay? And I call it financial inclusion as a catalyst for SME growth in Nigeria. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? What are the way forward? Okay? Okay, so the agenda we're going to look at today, opening, okay, the business building engine. This is the foundation of, from my experience doing this, I have discovered that a lot of people that say they have a business don't even know what a business means. Once they have a product, they say they have a business. So we're going to find out whether you actually have a business, okay? So we look at the foundation. We want to see why, financial inclusion matters. Why this matters. Defining financial inclusion. Nigerian financial inclusion journey. The core arguments. How digital finance is changing the game. We look at a case study. Why many SME remain excluded. The risk of financial exclusion. What SME must do and other stakeholders must also do. And we close. Okay? So I'll start. Okay? The finance engine. How to create wealth through business. The purpose, the mindsets, and the practice. I've heard a bit about mindsets this morning. It's the foundation of everything. Okay? I found out that for 15 years of my career, I was working for the wrong reasons. 15 years. And I can assure you that there are so many people here, they are in business for the wrong reasons, they are in church for the wrong reason, okay? They are even in marriage for the wrong reasons. Yeah? For 15 years, working in multinationals, I was doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, all right? So there are two types of income categories. And our God that gave the keynote, I think I summarized everything. The first one is active income. The second one is passive income. Your business, your investment goal is to transform active income into passive income. That's your major goal. What is active income? It's an income you need to show up before you earn. That means you need to come to work every time before you earn it. The passive income is when you have your money working for you, whether you are there or not. So, as we start our career, as we begin to earn money, okay, the money you earn does not make you rich. I will give you an example. I started work with the Diageo Group, Guinness Nigerian PLC. I was there for 6 years. Every time they increase my salary, my expenses grow to cover my salary. So I'll move to the next company. So I moved to the banking industry. I worked at a point with FSDH. It was an investment company. They have a stockbroking firm. They do profit sharing in dollars. At that time, if I have $600,000 naira in my account, I was broke. But I know nothing about investments. Okay? So as at that time, I live in Lekki now. The place I was living, land in that place sell for 150 as at that time. If I had 600,000 in my account, I was broke. All right? Today, they sold a portion of land in front of my house, where I live now, for 350 million, just in front of my house. As at that time, land was selling for 150,000 naira. And if I had 600,000 naira, I was broke. In fact, the FSD had a stockbroking firm. I didn't understand anything about buying stock. So I left there because, of course, I always increase my income. I went to Shell. 2 months in Shell, I was writing an application. Why? The Shell salary was no longer enough. Then my boss that I've told my career history, he gave me a book. I consider that book the day I met with fortune. The book is The Richest Man in Babylon. The summary of the book is that you must save 10% of everything you earn. And as a young man working in Shell, I could conveniently save, 30% of my salary. So I started saving, 30% of my salary. 1 year after, the house I was living, was put, the owner was going to politics. I said, because you are living here, I'll give you the right of first refusal. You buy it. If you don't want to buy, you can move out. At this time, I've saved enough money to put, as deposit in my cooperative to buy the house. Before this time, I had worked for 8 years without saving. Just 1 year after reading a book, what happened? I bought my first house. So your goal is to convert active income, to passive income. All right? Okay, so I'm sure you have seen this before. We're just setting the foundation. All right? The cash flow quadrant. All right? You have employee, you have a job, you trade time for money. All right? Self-employed, you own a job. You trade time for money. So you are income dependent. Time dependent. Your income stops when you stop working. So the question I ask you here today, if you stop work today, how long would you last? How long would you survive? If you stop work today, if your income stop coming today, for how long can you stay? So your pursuit should not be wealth first. It should be financial freedom. What's the difference? Financial freedom is that if I have, if my living expenses is 1 million per month, I have asset class that generates me 1 million a month, whether I work or not. That's financial freedom. All right? So once you have an asset class, that can help you generate income, whether you work or not, you are financially what? Free. So your goal is what? Financial freedom first before wealth. All right? But on the other hand, some people think that they have they have a business, but what they actually do is that they own a job. Why? Because they always have to appear to earn money. And who owns the business? The person that owns the business is the one that owns the system and people working the system. So whether you are there or not, what happened? You have a system and you have people running the system. All right? And of course, investment is get money working for you. So your goal is to move from the left to the right. System dependent, your income continues to grow with your system and your assets, whether you are there or not. Yeah. So investment, I won't talk more about investments. What I will advise is that investment is one major way to convert active income to, it starts with savings. So I will suggest that whether you are in business or an employee, you must save at least 10% of what you earn. All right? Then maybe after a year, you can seek an expert or experienced investor to advise you, or a mentor. We have been told that we have a department that can mentor us. So use it. All right? And get your money to work for you. I suggest also, just as I read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, please go and get a copy of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. If you go to Ikeja bus stop now, you will see it under the bridge. You will see a copy. Please get a copy and read it. All right? In fact, I make sure that my children, before they earn their first salary, they will read the book. Before they earn their first salary, they read the book. So today we're going to be looking at the business quadrant. All right. And this is what we do, what I do personally. Okay. All right. So I want to start with this. This is the business building engine for everyone that wants to build a business. The first one is the mindset. This is not negotiable. The mindset is not what? Negotiable. Okay? The other one is the structure. And the third one is the systems. Structure determines the size of your business. If you don't have a structure, your business will not grow. Okay? System determines that your business can run without you. All right? And without the right mindset, what happened? Well, it doesn't matter how much systems you have. It doesn't matter how much structures you have. Your mindset will cancel everything you do. So you must have the right mindset. So I call it the value thinker mindset. Is a mindset of value creation. So I will dwell on, the mindset before I will go to financial inclusion, because it's very important. Because if you do all the right thing with the wrong mindset, your mindset will cancel everything. Okay? All right. So for any career, team, or business success, there are 4 things that are required. How many things? Okay? But a lot of people start from idea. Okay? Career does not start from an idea. I'm an accountant. All right? That's an idea. I'm an IT professional. That's an idea. Okay? I have an idea for business. That's an idea. It doesn't start from an idea. If you start from an idea, you will fail. Where does it start from? It starts from a problem or a need. Why do you want to be an accountant? What problem is an accountant supposed to solve? How am I equipped to solve that problem? Without understanding the problem or the need, what happened? The idea is useless. The idea is the best solution for the need. Are we following that? Okay? So once you understand the problem, the need, the next thing is that what is the best solution for this? Because there can be so many solutions to it. All right? What is the utmost solution? That's the idea. All right? Again, there's nothing like $1 million idea. If you have an idea that is not executed, what happened? The idea is what? Useless. All right? So once you understand the need, you have the solution, you must execute that solution. Is that not correct? All right? So you need to be an obsessive executioner. But this is where mindset comes in. It doesn't matter how good an executioner you are. If your mindset does not support your action, what happens? Your mindset will cancel the result of your action. So you see people doing the right thing, doing a lot of good work and all that, but what happened? They are not getting the result. Why? The mindset is wrong. Okay? So let me make this clear. Let's start from this. Okay? Like I said, I'm a member of your Maxwell team. All right? In 2016, MTN, reached out to me and said, we want you to do a leadership training for the MTN business partners. Okay? And, they don't want me to do it. They want John Maxwell to do it. So I sent an email to, the president of John Maxwell team, and they gave me this quote. When was this? 16. Are you still with me? Okay, so John Maxwell said, keynotes up to 2 hours, $75,000. Okay? Half day, $90,000. Okay? And full day, 7 hours, $110,000. That's the exclusive of logistics. Let's, today's rates. All right? 2 hours, 105 million. Okay? 4 hours, 126 million. And full day, okay, 154 million. Just to speak for 7 hours. And I asked that MTN, I want to do this myself for a fraction of the money. They said, no, we prefer John Maxwell. So let me ask you, why do you think that, they prefer John Maxwell to me? The brand. One. Any other contribution? They could afford it. Would they just throw money away? That's the word I'm looking at. What is the word? What is the word? Value. Okay? The word is value. Brand is correct. Brand is part of your value. Okay? But the word I'm looking for is what? Is value. All right? And that's why the career journey starts with a need. All right? Okay? Or a problem. Your solution is adding value. Okay? So there are three reasons people work universally. I'm happy that we've been talking about from survival. Okay? 80% of people today work to survive. So you see people wake up every day, they are going to their office for the wrong reasons. They are going to a place they don't like. Survival. In fact, I had to resign from Shell the day I remember I knew that I was working for survival. It was a tough decision, but I knew that it was a needed decision that I need to take. Survival. Okay? And for the people who are able to overcome survival, about 15% work to save or to expand their life. This set of people, what do they want to do? They want to live in Banana Island. Okay? They want to, go on vacation to the Bahamas. What is the commonality between the people that work to survive and the people that work to expand their life? One commonality is that it's about them. It's about me. Okay? If you go into business about you, you will struggle. It's never about you. You will struggle. That is the first thing that you need to begin to. It is never about you. I need to set this example. But there are 5% of people, they are not just successful financially in terms of meaning and fulfillment. Okay? They are successful. These people work to serve. Friends, if you work to serve, there's no work that is mania. Even if you are washing toilets, okay? Because you understand that your work is to make the toilet better for other people to do what? To use. And that's where the meaning comes from. That's where the dignity of labor comes from. You are working for a purpose, and the purpose impacts a lot of life. So, I'm sure we know the picture here. How many people knows the person that is here? You do, right? Excellent. Can we take this together? It says the reason I've been so... Are you with me? Okay, can we take it together? The reason I've been so financially successful is my focus has never, ever for 1 minute been money. The reason I've been so financially successful is that my focus has never, ever for 1 minute been money. So I asked myself, what does financial success mean to Oprah? And I checked. In 2019, her net worth was how much? 2.7 billion US dollars. And yet she said, the reason I've been so financially successful is that my focus has never, ever for 1 minute been money. So the question is, what is our focus? Somebody is worth 2.7 billion US dollars, but our focus was not money. What do you think our focus is? Yeah? Service. Yeah? What other ones? Creating value. Okay? All right? The focus has never been money. One of the things that I found out is that everybody is chasing reward, even in church. Okay? This is a Christian organization. The Bible says, for example, okay, in Deuteronomy chapter 28, okay, he said you will be blessed if you hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord. So what should you chase? The blessing? No. It's how to hearken. So in my pursuit in life, I've differentiated between the goal and the reward. What will be my pursuit? The goal. Okay, I even tell people that, people say they want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Heaven is the reward. The goal is the kingdom. Okay? So for a business person, the goal is value creation. If you keep creating value, what happens? The money will come. If you chase money, what happens? Nothing will come. All right? So that's it. So your business is not about money. Money is what? Is a result. Money is a result of doing business. It is not about you or your need. Whatever you get out of your business is a reward. Okay? It is not also about your products. For example, how many people have an iPhone here? Okay? Okay, you have an iPhone. How many stores can you buy the iPhone? So many stores. Is that not correct? Yeah? You can buy the iPhone in so many stores. So it's not about the iPhone. iPhone standard is fixed. Okay? What is going to make the difference, okay, is the value that whoever is selling it is adding to it. Are you following that? Okay? So for a business person, the mindset is not product, but it's value proposition. What did I say it is? It is not product, it is what? Value what? Proposition. What's the difference? Let's take the traditional taxi and Uber, for example. Okay? In the traditional taxi, the product is the functional requirement to take you from one place to another. But with the traditional taxi, you need to come out, even if you want to take a drop. You need to come out of your house, come out of the road, to wave down a taxi. Okay? So they brought the value proposition that I can sit down in my house and do what? And order a ride. Okay? The other value proposition is that, okay, before now, I remember that when I used to go to UK in early days, they used metering for taxi. So you enter a taxi, you are going to the next place, they take you round so that you can pay more. Is that correct? Yeah. But these people brought a value proposition right from before you take the ride, you are sure of the amount. They brought the issue of security. Okay? Before that, I cannot put my 10-year-old son in a normal taxi. But today, because I have the data of everything, so these are all what? Value proposition beyond the functional requirement of taking me from one place to the other. So as a business person, what you are thinking about is not product, but what? Value proposition. But let me tell you, your value proposition is not your business. Your business is your business model. And what is your business model? It is how do you create this value? How do you deliver the value? How do you capture value from the market? Are you following that? Your business model, I don't want to use very technical, I want to make it basic. How do I create this value proposition? Is it cost effective? How do I deliver it to my target market? And how do I collect value back from them? That's what makes your business. What causes success, what causes disruption is your business model design. Do you understand it? You are just setting the foundation. Okay? So, all right? So your business is about others. It's about your clients. Okay? It's about how much value you create for your clients. How much you meet their needs. Okay? That is what it's all about. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's about what you give. The more value you give to others, the more value you generate for others and for yourself. In fact, the truth is that your value in the marketplace is how much value you give in excess to how much they pay you. Okay? So if they only pay you what you give, you are not valuable. It is how much you give in excess of the money you received. In fact, nobody will give you money if they don't think that the value they are getting is bigger than the money they are paying. Nobody will give you money. If they gave you money and they think that the value is not equivalent, what happened? They are going to regret it. Meanwhile, what is money? I'll use it to round up about mindset. Okay? How many people know the basic about trade by barter? Okay? When it started, I have yam. That's what I can produce. I bring it to the market. Is that correct? If I want beans, I'm looking for somebody that have beans. What I can get to the market, okay, with my yam, I won't find somebody that have beans that wants yam. Okay? So I needed somewhere to store my value. So the first function of money is what? Store of value. Are we together? Then the second is that, all right, let's even assume that I get to the market and I have somebody that have beans but wants yam and want yam. What quantity of yam am I going to exchange for what quantity of beans? Okay? And that brought us to the second function of money. And what is it? Measure of value. Okay? The third one is that once I store my yam in money, I can use the money to go and exchange. Okay? So there are three functions of money. The first one is store of value. The second one is what? Measure of value. And the other one is what? Exchange of value. But the point I want to make is that without value, there's no money, except you want to steal it. Are we together? Okay? All right. So, okay. So, I think it was Jim Rohn that says, this is Zig Ziglar. You can have everything in life you want if where enough people get what they want. Okay? All right? So, your value in life or in the marketplace is how much value you give in excess of how much payment you take. I stop here and I say, don't work for money alone. If you do, you will always be underpaid. Okay? Don't ever work for money alone. If you do, you will ever be underpaid. So this is where we are. I've just given you an introduction to the mindset to building a business. The structure, okay, I don't have the time for it because it's not why I'm here. The system, I don't have the time for it. This book is about the mindset, the structure, and the systems that is required to build a big business. Before you even get to structure, how do you know you have an idea? How do you know that the idea is a business? Okay, so there's a 5 phase. The first phase is that how do I get an idea that is a profitable business? The second phase is that how do I start it without money? A lot of people think that the reason they've not started a business is because they don't have money. That's not true. Let me give you an example, okay? The person that wants to build a poultry, what does he want to sell?
Chicken and egg.
Chicken and egg. Thank you, sir. Do I need 10 million to sell chicken and egg? Do I need it? What do I need? There's what they call the minimum viable product. All I need to sell chicken and egg is I don't even need 10 kobo. I need to go to an established poultry. I need a video or picture that shows that any quantity of egg you need, you can have it. I need to agree with the owner of the poultry. How much is it? And I put a markup. And I take the video and the picture to the market and go and sell. Okay, all right? That is called the minimum viable product. A lot of people spend millions of naira to start a business without having a single customer. They've not validated whether the idea can be sold. Are you following that? So the start phase is product development, where you validate that the idea is what people need in the market. It is only after that you begin to build the structure. That's the building phase, the third phase. Okay? Once you have built the structure, you are building a prototype. Okay? A prototype that you are going to replicate. Okay? After that, you build a system. That's why you see companies like banks. Is one kind of business that every branch does. The structure is there, the system is there, they are just replicating it. If you see a church like Redeem and Winners, the structure of a parish is a prototype, is just being replicated. Every business can be a worldwide business if it has the right structure and the business. So this book on Amazon is $25. Okay, that is 35,000 naira. If you buy it online, okay, it's 25,000 naira because you need about 5,000 naira to deliver it. Okay? If you buy it in a bookshop, it's 30,000 naira. But for the purpose of this program, this is 20,000 naira. Thank you. 20. Okay. So let's go ahead. All right? So this is what we do. We help people move from, okay, the left of the quadrant to the right of the quadrant. So if you are building business, we have what we call the Venture Lab, build business that scale beyond the founder. This is a 3-month program, okay? If you already have an existing business, you have Founder Lab Accelerator, build system that scale ventures and multiply growth. Then investment, we have a cooperative society where people not only, they collectively invest, they grow wealth and create impact. Then we have the Urban Legacy Fund, okay? That's where you put a fund together to begin to work for you. It doesn't matter how small. We start with a 5 million naira minimum fund, all right? Then we have Urban Education, all right, where we give financial education. Yeah. So this is what we do. So let's go to the topic of today in the short time that we have. All right. SMEs are backbone of Nigerian economy. Yet many still operate outside the financial system that enable growth. Today we are going to explore how inclusion can become a growth multiplier rather than merely, a policy objective. All right. Is financial exclusion limiting, SMEs? The answer is a capital yes. Okay, so let's look at it. Raise your hand here, okay, if you have difficulties accessing loan before. Anybody? You have difficulty? God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. Okay, what about payment delay or high transaction costs? Okay, all right. What about managing cash flow problem? What about separating personal income, okay, and business finance? Okay, what about lack of business records? One of the reasons that people can't access money is because their business does not have record. Okay? All right? So many SMEs do not fail because they have weak products. Remember I said that your product is not your business. Okay? They struggle because they operate outside a system that supports growth. Okay? All right? So why does this conversation of financial inclusion for SME, why does it matter? SME matters in Nigerian economy. Why? They contribute roughly 46 to 50% to our GDP. Okay? They represent approximately 96% of businesses. They account for 85% of employment. Okay? More than 33 million, SMEs operate nationwide. Okay? SME performance is equal to employment plus poverty reduction plus innovation plus economic diversification. So if the government of Nigeria want to diversify, the economy, what happened? Okay, they need to support SMEs. Okay, if they want to create employment, they need to support employment. If they want to reduce poverty, they need to support them. If they want innovation, the highest place that innovation is taking place in this country today is within the SMEs. So that's why this conversation is important. If SME grows, what happens? Nigeria will do what? We grow. Very important, okay? So let's define financial inclusion. What exactly is financial inclusion? Okay? It is access to, listen to me, financial inclusion is not just access. If all you do is access, okay, you are not financially included. All right? All right? So it is access and use. Access and what? Use. Okay? You access it and you are using it. Okay? Of affordable financial service that meets your business need. That's what it's all about. So what are the components of financial inclusion? The first one is what? Access. The second one is what? Usage. The third one is the quality. Okay? If you have access and you want to use it and it's not, the quality is not good, it's not useful for you. Then the other one is affordability. All right? So it is about access, it's about usage, it's about quality, it's about what? Affordability. Okay? So what exactly is it? So let's look at the example of financial product that you need to access and use. Okay? So you have payment systems. Are you using payment systems in your business? One of the ways to have records is using payment system. For some of us that are using things like Paystack, okay, you see that automatically you have your customer database. Automatically. How much transactions that happen, okay? So when you want a loan, all you just need to do is download all those records. You have evidence of your record of your business, okay? Savings, credit, insurance, investment. So are this part of your business? Okay? Note this. Financial inclusion is not the same thing as opening a bank account. So the fact that your company has a bank account does not mean that you are financially inclusive. It's beyond opening a bank account. Okay? It means using financial tools productively for your growth. Okay? So Nigerian financial inclusion journey. Let's look at it. All right, this is A12 report. Financial inclusion rate is growing at about 78%, which is good. Okay, formal inclusion 64%, financial exclusion 26%. Nigerian financial inclusion improved significantly between 2020 and 2023, but the fact remains that 1 out of every 4 adults remain excluded. There are people who are in business and today they will tell you that they cannot use ATM card because they are afraid of fraud. Okay? All right? So this is very important. The challenge is shifting from access to what? To meaningful what? Usage. You need to shift from access to meaningful usage. Okay? So the core argument why inclusion is important. Financial inclusion will lead to your financial capability as a business, which will help, in SME growth. So the issue is about not just about access, it's about the capability to build business, is about SME growth. Okay? So it's first what? Access to services, those financial products, okay? Financial usage, which will lead to better decision. I'll give you an example. I just came back from Warri where I had, a session like this. And somebody said, look, he was trying to accuse the church that the church is not supporting his business. And he said that, look, I found out that the people that support my business are Muslims. Okay? And he was bitter that the church is not supporting the business. I said, well, but your business data have told you your target market. Why are you bothering about people who are not interested in your business? You already have data about people who are interested in your business, your target market. So why do you not focus and see how you can expand that market? Because your data has told you this is our people who are interested in your business. You have not asked yourself, why are Muslims interested in my business? Must be a value proposition that you are delivering unknown to you that appeal to that segment of the market. Okay? So it's about better decision that will lead to business expansion, that will lead to growth outcomes. So access, financial usage, better decision, business expansion, then growth. So how our financial inclusion, how does it improve SME growth? We're going to look about 5 areas of growth, okay? The first one is what? Improve access to what? Capital. Increase business formalization. One of the reasons that we can't get loan is because we're not formalizing our business. There are so many business in the informal sector that we need to formalize. Improve cash flow, expand market reach, and build resilience. So let's take them one by one, briefly. I will share the slides, okay? All right? We'll share the slide. The first one is improve access to capital. Without finance, what happens? Limited inventory, you are not able to expand, how much product that you produce. Inability to expand, cash flow problems. Why? Because you don't have access. But with inclusion, what happens? You have access to loan, digital lending, working capital, and trade finance. Okay? Why? Because you have documentation. All right? 2, increase business formalization. Financial inclusion encourages what? Record keeping. Like I said before, if you use Paystack or Flutterwave for payment, what happens? Automatically, you have your business record that you can just print out and give to your accountant. Tax identity, all right? Transaction history, you can get the history of your transaction and business credibility. So once you have your business formalized because you are financially inclusive, when you go to the bank, what happens? They will take you serious because you have what? Credibility, all right? Formal business scale more easily, okay? Then improve cash flow management. Financial tools enable easier collection. For example, if you are not making, online payments and you are not online, it means that people outside your geographical location cannot patronize you. That's what it means, okay? So easier collection, better expenses tracking. You can know the cost of doing business. You can know the expenses. You can know your profit margin, all right? Payment efficiency. Cash flow problem kill SME than lack of profits. There are many people that are selling on credits But when you are using, digital whatever for payment, they can't owe them. They pay immediately before they get the delivery. Okay? So that's very important. Then expand market reach. Of course, we have said about that. All right? Today, your business can be global just by being financially inclusive. I talked about the book on Amazon. I talk about the book online. Okay? It means that everybody can reach my product. All right? So you can sell online, you can receive remote payment, you can serve broader market beyond your geographical location. Market expansion is limited without what? Financial inclusion. Okay? Then build resilience. All right? So you find out that today the economy is so volatile. All right? So, but if you are financially included, it means that you have, things like insurance, you have savings that can help as buffer, that can help you withstand all these economic shocks. So that is why it is important. All right? Today, digital finance is changing the game. Fintech, digital payment system are reshaping SMEs. Example, mobile banking, QR payments, POS payment. Okay, 20, I'm almost gone, POS payment link, agency banking, all right? Okay? So Nigerian recorded approximately 600 trillion in electronic payment in 2023, showing rapid digital adoption by NIPS. That's data from NIPS. 600 trillion, okay? Digital payments are increasingly becoming the operating infrastructure for SMEs. So if you are not inclusive, you take yourself outside this market. So let's look at a typical case, all right? A retail SME before and after inclusion. So before inclusion, what happened is cash-only transaction. But after inclusion, we have digital what? Payment. Okay? Before inclusion, there's no record of this transaction. After inclusion, what happened? It has transaction history. Okay? Before inclusion, there's no access to credit. Okay? Why? Because the business is not formalized. But after inclusion, it has lending eligibility. All right? Before inclusion, is only market within around his place. But after inclusion, it has wider reach. Okay? Then without inclusion, there's a weak cash management. Then with inclusion, because you can project your revenue, you can get your history, better planning. Okay? So why are many SMEs excluded? Okay? Why are they excluded? The first one is awareness barrier, which is why we are here today, so that we can create awareness. Low understanding. The second one is access barrier. Some of those products are very expensive. Okay? So access needs to be created. The third one is affordability. Okay? Costs are high. Okay? The other one is ability barrier. You don't even have the literacy. Margaret talked about a code. A lot of Nigerians can't even scan, know how to scan a code. Okay? So they don't have the ability to access, the financial tools. Then trust barrier. I still have people who, can't do online transfer. They still carry their check. I don't know. I'm not sure they are not here. They are not here today. Yeah? They still carry their checkbook. So trust barrier, fear. Some people have had bad experience. I give you an example. 2 months ago, my dad called me in Canada and said, my account has just been wiped off. So yes, the downside of it, but you can't run away from the future. This is the future, all right? So risk of financial exclusion. What happens when SMEs stay away? Weak growth, poor resilience, low productivity, inability to scale, and you can't manage the shock that comes from the uncertainty in the economy. Because why? You don't have those buffers. Exclusion creates fragile business, especially with inflation pressure and economic volatility. You are able to manage better if you are included. So what must SME do? The first one, 6 things that you should do, right? The first one is what? Separate business finance from your personal finance. Very important. Separate it from your personal finance. 2, maintain records. If you are collecting payment digitally, all right, you'll be able to, maintain records. Let me tell you, one of the greatest assets that a business person has is customer database. one of your greatest assets as a business person is your customer database. All right? Okay? And that can come through financial inclusion, especially if your payment is digital. All the records are there for you. Okay? Adopt digital payments, build transaction history. Because when you want to collect loan, that's what is needed. That's what will give you eligibility. So you need to build financial history. Improve financial literacy. Okay? You need to know more about finances and, all the things about inclusion. So start building for I used to advise people, even if, first and foremost, build your business as if you want to sell it. All right? Whether you want to sell it or not. Okay? The second thing I advise people, go and ask the bank for a loan. Whether you need a loan or not. Why? In the process of applying for the loan, you will know whether you have the right business structure or not. So whether you need loan or not, go and ask for loan. They will scrutinize your business. They will help you put some things in place about your business. Even if they don't grant the loan, the feedback alone will certainly improve your business. So go and ask for loan. So what about other stakeholders? Because it's an ecosystem. It's not just for the SMEs. So, there's a shared responsibility. For government, what government needs to do is put in the right infrastructure, the right policy support. What banks need to do is simplify products. Fintech, what fintech need to do is what? Lower cost of access. Right now, the cost of access is relatively high compared to other, that can also be traced to infrastructure. If the infrastructures are not available, what happens? The cost will be high. Right now, all the telco need to generate their own power. So if the infrastructure is not there, the cost will be high. All right? Development partners, literacy support, educate people just like we are doing now. So, Full Gospel is a development partner in this respect, trying to provide, literacy in this respect. The SME associations, what do they do? Education. So it has to be an ecosystem thinking, right? So conclusion, financial inclusion is not about banking, it's about growth. My final message is this: the future competitiveness of Nigerian SMEs depend not only on entrepreneurial talents, but access to financial system that enable them to do what? To scale. Right? So this is it. Financial inclusion plus financial capability. My brother talked about financial discipline will bring about sustainable growth for SME. Thank you very much. So I'll take questions now, if there are questions.
Thank you so very much. I have my notes filled up. I mean, if I begin to, it's going to be like I'm teaching all over again, and I can't do what you've done. So we've listened, and I'm sure there's a lot that we've learned. So if we have questions, I have papers here. I'll quickly pass it around. You.
I'll help you.
You.
So the book is available. We want your feedback. You can help us scan this code and give us your feedback. We are outside.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We have a discount, so please let's take advantage of the discount. Yes, can I have the first, if you're ready?
They are bringing their right.
Do you have a question, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let me take yours,
Saying it was impactful, it's an understatement. And I thank God I'm here. But if you look at the dynamics of the environment, someone like me, I call myself an accidental businessman. It was the system that pushed me out. So I found myself on Broad Street before I knew what was happening. And so the only thing I had to do was do business. And so some of these things, it was like they caught up with us in the bid to survive and all. And today, I want to ask that for a lot of people who are probably in that category, I was lucky, that was 30 years ago. But today, when you look at the unfriendly environment, the spiraling cost of doing business, even this training, despite the subsidy, maybe the up and coming cannot afford to attend. What do you think would be entrepreneurs like that, can do? Because you mentioned discipline, the same thing with the sheep host. We were organizing a seminar for some young guys, and we brought someone like you. And when it was the next year, they called me and said, "Don't bring gas like that. We are trying to survive." You are talking of a man who said he has given his banker the instruction, this is to tithe, this is to investment, to my children, household allowance, that we don't even know how to survive. So, because when your income cannot even meet the overheads, where do you go from there? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Why don't you take that?
Yes, okay. Okay. So I think first and foremost, let's go back to where we started. It's a mindset issue. Okay? It's purely a mindset issue. I've gone to the bank to have a workshop with bankers that are supposed to be managing our money, and they don't even have savings. Okay? All right? They don't have savings. So the question I always pose, I ask them, for example, because it's a mindset thing. I said, where you are working right now, if the company says, we'll sack you or we'll reduce your income by 20%, which one are you going to choose? Okay? Oftentimes, many people say, we will choose reduction of income by 20%. And the next question is, are you going to survive? And they said yes. So which means that you can save 20% of your salary and still survive. And the long-term impact is that is the only route for you living the rat race. So if you don't defer gratification, you will never come out of that rat race. Okay? The second question, I have a mentor, Brenda. Brenda has a mastermind of 25 people. They pay $25,000 a year to be part of the mastermind. It's just a group of people that want to create business together. Okay? So he provides a platform. He says, every year I give 5 of my family members. Yeah. Every year I give 5 of my family members access to that mastermind for free. He said, but why people that are paid $25,000 are creating $1 million business, the ones that came for free cannot produce one? Why? Only people that pay attention. So the church also is not even helping by giving everything free. Okay? You want to build a business and you can't afford it, at least read a book of, 20,000 naira. So we need to get them to the place where they need to take responsibility. All right? Yeah? So it's a mindset thing. We need to begin to shift that mindset. Yeah.
Thanks.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's on as well. Yeah. Okay, so I have here, it says, how do I contact the owner of the business in the supply chain, like the poultry business example you gave? Okay, I'll allow you to answer that.
Okay. So it is easy.
Yeah.
Your first capital.
Oh, okay. So the people online.
It's on.
It's on.
No, it's not. Okay.
While we're waiting, can I also say that those who are online should please send in their questions if they have? I think it's to me.
Okay, I've lost my chain of thought. What was the question again? Okay, the person that wants poultry, okay? The first capital you need as a business is not money. The first capital you need is your character, is integrity. That's the first capital that you need. Okay? People don't buy product, people buy people. Okay? So it has to be about your person. All right? For you to say, to meet somebody and said, I want to help you market your book. Every business person is looking for, okay, marketers. Because one of the mistakes people make is that for every business, there are only 3 parts to every business. It doesn't matter how big it is. How many parts? 3. The first one is that you either produce or buy the product. They call it production. The second one is that you sell it somewhere else for a profit, sales and marketing. The third one is that you administer the process of buying and selling. If a business is, okay, exchange value for money, where does the value exchange happen? Sales and marketing, is that not correct? So but one of the mistakes people make today is that they want to start a business, their first capital is on production. Okay? I've seen people who say, okay, the first thing they want to do is they want to buy an official car for their business. Okay? They want a good office for their business, but they don't have a single customer. So every business person is looking for how to sell their products. So if you come with a proposal that says that I can help you increase your sales, there is no person that is in business, to add value and grow that will not accept the proposal to help sell. Nobody. Okay? In fact, today, there's what they call customer financing. For people that say they don't have money. I have bought a 15 hectares real estate without 10 kobo on the ground. Customer financing. How did I do it? I went to the owner of the place and I said, I want to buy this expand of land, but you will give me, payment within 6 months. Okay? So what happened? I did all the design, I did all the whatever, and went, to the market. I was working with Shell then. I went to, my colleague, and I said that, let's build an estate. What you need is an offer. So I made an offer. In 2 hours, about 50-something people were interested in the offers. So what happened? As they are paying, what happened? I'm going to pay the owner of the land. Customer financing. I finance through my customer. Okay? So if you have credit integrity, people can pay you even before what happened, before you deliver the product to them. So there are so many ways, strategies that you can use. Can we take the second question, yes, please? Yeah.
In fact, just to support what you have said, the Gen Zs, the reason they're doing so well, it's on now. The reason they're doing so well is because they have, they're riding on this. A lot of young people sit at home and you think they're not doing anything, but they're actually selling online, and they don't have any products. They don't have any of the products. It's either they're buying from Amazon and delivering to you and getting a commission, or they're buying, just like you said, they're showing pictures every day of things, of products that they don't have, but they have a connection with that. And so I think it's just us getting out of that understanding that
if you go to Gigi, all the product advertised for in Gigi does not belong to the people.
Yeah.
They've gone to the importer, they've had an arrangement. So the moment you order, what happened? They go there and collect it and deliver to you. Simple.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this question says, my question has to do with the cost of value, especially when you want to make your product affordable.
Yeah.
So what do you do about value proposition?
Okay, so there are 3 things that you need to have to be able to say you have a business. Okay? We call it the real what it model. Okay? So the first one is that, is there a need actually in the marketplace? Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is that, can you competitively produce, that value? If you can't competitively produce that value, you don't have a business. Are you following that? Because how you produce the value is very important. Can you bring a superior solution cheaper? All right? And the other one is that a sustainable business model? Those are the 3 things for any business. Is there a need, which means that people are ready to pay for it, and you're able to produce it, So if you can't deliver a value competitively, you don't have a product. You don't have a value proposition. Because there are other people who can produce it cheaper. So you need to look for something else, or look for how to innovate that so that you can produce it cheaper. Yes, ma'am.
Also, I think, okay, we produce what we like and not what people.
That's another thing.
It's very important
Yeah.
that you know what your market desires. Okay, so this question says, please, I'm a gospel artist and a music producer, and I run a studio and music business. I want to expand music business. I have prepared my business plan. How do I access a loan grant from the federal government for my music business?
Okay. So this is what I see all the time. People that just start a business, they don't yet have a business, but they have a business plan. A business plan on what? Okay? This is one of the advice from the traditional whatever. What you need when you are starting product development is what we call structural experimentation. Are you following that? So you have your offer. You take it out there. That's what you do when you are developing the product. You take it out there. You meet people one-on-one. There's a guy that just did one soup something. He said, before I launch, I have met 4,000 people one-on-one. Getting feedback. Are you following that? So the product was produced out of the feedback from people. So when you start, what you are doing is experimentation. Business plan suggests that you know the future based on the past. Structural experimentation is that you are going back to get live feedback. I will come and market you. This is my product. What do you think? If you are not buying, why are you not buying? Okay? If you like it, what happened? Okay? I get the feedback. I use it to improve it. I come to you. At the end of the day, I would have gotten feedback and I know what my customer wants. That's product development. Okay? It is after that you begin to build a structure. You are come up with a business model. Okay? How best can I create this? How can I deliver it? How can I receive? It is only after you have that structure in place that you begin to talk about business plans. All right? Without that, there's nothing like business plan. Go and experiment your idea. Have a focus and say, this is my customer, this is my target market. I want to speak to at least 1,000 people about this idea and get their feedback, whether they are ready to put their money. The moment you get that 80%, 90% are ready to put down their money, then you have a business idea that works. Okay? So we can help you outside this place. It's not a question that I can answer here, but we can help you. If you get my number, then we can talk. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the online? No questions. All right. I'll read this last one. Okay. All right. Must every business borrow from the bank to succeed?
I've just said that now. Okay? Every business don't have to borrow. If you know what they are doing, you can borrow to scale. But again, when we talk about financial inclusions, there are other trade finance outside borrowing from the bank. Are you following that? Okay? You can borrow from close friends. You can do customer financing that I talked about. There are other means of getting money for your business. Okay? You can sell equity to people. Okay? If people want to buy into your business, if you do the right thing, people can buy equity. So there are other sorts of finances outside, okay, going to the bank to borrow money. But the reason I ask you to go to the bank is that they will help you check if you actually have a business or not. Okay? If a bank accepts to give you loan, then you have a successful business. Yeah.
All right. I have a question here. This is an HR question. I'm already smiling. Says, how does an entrepreneur select good workers, managers who will not spoil the good structure and system already in place?
Okay. So what makes a company succeed is culture, first and foremost. Okay? All right? So the first thing that you want to find out is that what are your values as a company? Okay? The value is what translates to the culture. If you have an employee that does not share the same value with you, what happens is a misfit. It doesn't matter how brilliant he is. Okay? So the first thing is that who are the employees that align with the culture of the organization? They might not have the skill. The skill can be developed afterwards. But the most important thing, you can't change people's value system. It's not possible. You can't change character. So things like character, their values, okay, the things that will not change in the organization, that's what is more important. The skill can be developed. If the attitude is right, the skill can be developed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And as an HR specialist, I'll tell you that if you engage people and they don't have the right values, exit them. Otherwise, you corrupt the people you have. Yes. All right. This is the last one. Okay, so how can we bring into Nigeria business the American business model where growing companies ask other investors to invest, to buy into their business?
No, it's happening everywhere.
I think it is.
It's not an American thing. It's the issue of value. Okay? It's not an American thing. People bought into Flutterwave. It's a Nigerian company. People bought into Paystack. It's a Nigerian company. Okay? Yeah, because we in Nigeria don't know how to position our business to attract, the fund, not even foreign funding. It's the same condition to attract local funding. That's what we are doing here. It starts with building a business that has the structure and the systems. Okay? Please, I advise you, read this book. Okay? It's not because of marketing. I tell you that I do this thing for ministry. Read it, buy it for your mentors. We need to, many people have a job thinking that they have a business. They don't have a business. So it takes, for example, how many people start to build their business with the mind to list it? Even if they don't want to list it. So if you start your business and go to stock, the what's called the Nigerian Stock Exchange, they will help you put the process in place. Even if you don't want to list it, like the bank, do it as if you want to list it. They will help you put structures in place. You can come also. That's what we do in our Founder Venture Lab. A 3-month program to help you put, all the structures in place. So that when you present your business, even local people will want to put money into it because the money is organized. How many people have business here? You have a board, for example, corporate governance. There is no foreign investors that will invest 10 kobo in a company that does not have the right corporate governance. It will not happen. It will not happen. Okay, ma. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to express a deep appreciation to Mr. Aneke. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. It's been very, very interesting. First, he said to us that the major goal is to turn active income into passive income. So we need to move from working hard, and allowing our money to work for us. There are a lot of people who have retired by 30. There are young people who have retired by 30, 35, and some people are just starting their careers. They're making CVs. There's an online question now I had asked. Okay. How can we read it out?
Okay. You can read it.
Can you read it out? Okay. We have a few minutes.
Okay, so Mr. Godwin said, I agree with the facilitator on the place of structure and systems in business success. In business success, who does he think is responsible for why many business owners do not formalize?
Do we have
A board.
a board?
No, we have it.
I'll try. Yeah. When it comes to issue of responsibility, okay, I have a formula, okay, that I give people when it comes to issue of responsibility. The formula is, maybe you can write it down. E plus R equals to O. E plus R equals to O. E represents external events. R represents your response. O represents the outcome or the output. The external event, you don't have control over it. Are we true? How many people have control over the economy? You don't. Okay, all right? Yeah, but are people thriving in this economy? Yes. So one of the things we will take out here, the things you don't have control over are not responsible for your results. The things you don't have control over are not responsible for your result. What is responsible? Your response. Okay? External events you don't have control over, but your response you have control over. The reason that people are surviving the same economy is because they have a different response. Okay? So, whose responsibility it is for your outcome? Yeah? Whose responsibility is it? Mine. No, say you. Mine.
Mine.
Yeah? Okay? If your business is not growing, whose responsibility is it? The economy? No. Okay? If your marriage is not working, whose responsibility? Yours. All right? Okay? Yeah? If your finance is not good, whose responsibility is it? You. Take responsibility and do something about it. Thank you.